From Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds to father and son back to back bombs. From Junior J, Joey, and Edgar with Randy, A Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. My, oh my, the Mariners are still sitting on the sidelines. We got our Seahawks and a win that didn't mean much except for pride. But your boy RG, his Eagles are flying high. They put in a quarterback that only half the fans even knew who the hell he was. Good for him. He looked pretty damn good today. My oh my, we rep this place. Indie super producer down there in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee, rocking the ones and twos. That's Vaden Podcast Services. Vaden Podcast Services. I'm up here in Little Lake Stevens, 36 miles north of Seattle. And of course, my man has been a terror since the public school era. RG, what's going on, bro?
Man, let's see. How do I want to start this nice shout off with? Let's see. Now I'm gonna save the lyrics. I'm gonna save the lyrics for next week. I just kind of want to get into this, man. We got some good football still on TV. First time in NFL history that two teams with 14 wins are playing for the division on the last night of the season. So let's go on ahead and have fun with the people, so we could all catch the second half of this game, man. It's time to get to work.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So let's rewind a little bit. Let's rewind a little bit. College football playoff is in full swing. We saw the bowl games. I want to give a huge shout out though first to my oh my. We'll send our deepest condolences to any families or friends that were deeply affected by the terror attack in New Orleans, which postponed one of the bowl games. We got love for the people, so I just want to say for anyone that's affected, we truly feel for you. But on the football side of things, Ohio State looked fantastic. Texas, Arizona State. I turned that game off and went in the garage. RG texted me, boy, you better get up back in there. And I was so glad he did. Epic, epic football game. Before we even get into your Eagles, man, what just tell me whatever you think from the bowl games and the second round of the college football playoff.
Texas, Arizona State has been the only one worth its weight in salt. And it really didn't start off that way, but Texas couldn't find the dagger. And when they couldn't find the dagger, the body came back to life. And if you didn't know his name before, you know his name now. Cam Scatterboo proved his point that he might absolutely be the best running back in America. I know that Genty has the yards, but I live in the Mountain West Conference. We don't have any team of that type of caliber that he played all year other than Oregon. Cam Scatterboo decided, you know what? You ain't gonna make me look like a bitch on national TV. And that boy went out there and balled, balled. I thought he had a concussion for sure. And there was no way that boy was coming out the game throwing up on the sidelines. And then gave you the gift of the college football season, just him staring in the camera, telling you how real he is. Loved every moment of that game, every moment of it. It's just something with kickers this year, no matter whether it's college or pros, kickers been off the chain. Just can't do shit right this year. And I even got one in Philly. Jake Elliott's on his way out of town if he can't get his shit together. I'm with you, Mariners Lifer. There's no way that guy is just a third round grade. Or if he, or I don't know if they've re-released their grade stats after this weekend full of games, but I'm telling you, man, that dude needs some high consideration, man. You,
Mm.
there's not a team in the world who wouldn't take a kid with that type of heart on him. Yeah, he may be undersized, but we've seen plenty of undersized running backs in the NFL be able to come in and do their thing. And with the resurgence of the running back position, that's a steal in the draft for whoever gets him.
Mm-hmm. How cool is that though for Arizona State? a college with no tradition except for partying, really. And they what I want to say two straight 3-1 seasons. Now they're in the college football playoff. They took Texas to the absolute brink. A lot of people aren't up in arms about a non-targeting call. I thought it wasn't targeting as it happened. I'm not even sure what necessarily is nowadays, but man, how fun is that? And then just to piggyback on Scatabo, the guy catches, he runs routes, he's even throwing touchdowns. We're looking for dudes that can do it all like your boy Saquon Barkley has this year. And the more things you can do to help your team win, the better off you are for it. And he's gonna be a steal too, because some teams are gonna drop him down because his 40 is gonna be too slow. But you know what? How often do you actually run a 40-yard sprint? To me, the 40-yard dash really only matters for cornerbacks. After that, I'm not too concerned. But how fun was that game? I totally thought Texas was gonna blow them out. You're right. Dude puts the team, program, city, region on his back. They almost get the job done. Let's look at the another one of the bowl games then. Penn State and Boise State. I was actually really impressed with the Genty. That team was just overwhelmed by the speed and physicality Penn State brings to the table, and I love watching Penn State play ball. There might not be the aerial attack that so many people pine for, bro, but this is kind of a throwback with a bunch of fast, physical dudes on defense, and if you don't bring your hard hat, they're gonna get you.
Yeah, absolutely. They are definitely a lunch pail type of old school team where they pride themselves on physicality. Just too much, way too much for Boise to be able to try to match up with them. And Genty still, for his credit, only the second running back that's got 100 yards on him for this season. You can say what you want to about winning the game. He got it, but he still did get it. Um, just some weird results as far as not a single conference champion is left now. All the teams that had first round buys, with the exception of Arizona State, all got ate for lunch. Just been real interesting. So they're going to have to do some tweaks to it. We'll let them debate about what the tweaks are. I purposely see nothing wrong with it. Just the better teams all won. The better
Mm-hmm.
teams all won. Was probably the most disappointed in Oregon. They went from the number one team in the nation to a high school team the way that they were out there. Just had no answer for anything that Chip Kelly was dialing up for. Just none whatsoever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame, though, to me, Notre Dame looked better than I thought that they would have. I was whether or not Oregon had a, I mean, I'm sorry, whether or not Georgia had a backup quarterback or not. I didn't think that the Notre Dame defense could get after it the way that they did, and they absolutely came out there and just body blow after body blow to Georgia. They looked like the SEC perennial powerhouse the way that that defense played out. Just speed in every position, never overwhelmed. Just, I thought it was a good weekend for him. I really did think it was a good weekend for him. It's probably the best outcome you could have from a perspective of the CFP because now you have it really gets no bigger in terms of eyes than Texas, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. So this is going to work out for them the best that they could. They're going to kill it in the ratings. So yeah, man,
Penn
let's just
State
buckle
has a
in and
great
enjoy some
following
more.
in their own right.
They do, they do. But we're talking Penn State is a good regional following. There's
Yeah.
Ohio State, Texas, and Notre Dame. There's I don't know if you could find three more powerhouses other than that
Well, they're
outside of
top
the
five brands.
SEC list. They are.
Top five
So
brands without question. Penn State's top 10 or top 15 easy.
mm,
Easy. So I mean, you're right. Network's got to be salivating over this. Just seeing a lot of good stuff on the live chat. Scatabo needs to be a Cowboy. I think that would be a great move for the Cowboys because say you can get Scatabo in a later round, second, third, fourth. Shit, that means you can improve your team in other ways. Still get a dude that can make a giant difference. I don't know if it matters if you're paying Dak Prescott 60 large every single fucking year. Holy smokes. That's another story. The Seahawks have a really interesting scenario this offseason. Tommy, Oregon looks like a JV school team. Man, that was pretty disappointing, but I do got to tip my hat. Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon, pound for pound, is the toughest stadium to play at. I'm not saying that it's as crazy as some of these places with 100,000 fans, but 54,000, that 54,000 is right on top of you and makes life hell for the opposing team. The odds makers might give 3 points to NFL home field advantage. The Autzen Stadium's got to be about 10 to 14, in my opinion. Ohio State looks like a completely different team, though. Oh my gosh. They have two guys from Eastside Catholic, RG, and that is the preeminent private school in one of the affluent communities of suburban Seattle area. One of their best edge rushers, JT Tolomau, flying off the edge, and then their starting tight end, G. Scott Jr. So props to those Northwest guys. I will never discredit some young man for going to a place like Ohio State over Washington. You know how fans can be, but you got to do what's best for you and your family. And Ohio State, like we said, that's a top 5 brand that can get you to where you want to get to. And wow. So Jeremiah Smith, we got to talk about this cat. How freaking good is that wide receiver? Man, I would say there's been 2 players in my life that I can remember that could have been legit NFL players as true freshmen, and it's Adrian Peterson and Jeremiah Smith.
I know that Travis Hunter just won the Heisman. And I know it's impressive to see that guy out there do what he does. The best wide receiver in college football is Jeremiah Smith, hands down.
Mm.
It's unfortunate that that dude can't go get paid $100 million right now, but he by far is the best wide receiver in college football. They had nothing they could do for him. And you're screwed if you blow coverage like Oregon did and just leave him 20 yards downfield with no one within 10 yards of him. You're just asking for trouble. That guy's a beast, man. That guy's a beast. He keeps this up, he's Ohio State's next Heisman Trophy winner.
Mm.
I might even go as far out to say that right now he's better than Marvin Harrison. He's better than Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's better than Chris Olave. That dude is the truth. That dude is the absolute truth, man. Nothing they could do to that boy. The speed, the size, the hands, the football IQ, that dude's the beast. He really is.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So all year with my wife, I've been saying, "Yo, that's Gino's cousin out there at wide receiver." I gotta flip the script, man. From now on, if I'm watching a Seahawks game, hey, yo, Katie, that's Jeremiah's cousin at quarterback right there. That's the type of work he's doing.
Man, you don't want to disrespect his talent with putting him in the same realm with Geno Smith.
Well, they're cousins.
That's disrespectful.
That's
That's
the whole point.
disrespectful. That's disrespectful. One
Oh,
one one might be a god on the football field, and the other one is just the quarterback of the Seahawks.
I mean, let's see where it goes, though. Let's see where it goes, though. We've seen guys like Mike Williams dominate as true freshmen, and we saw where that career went. Although, just in terms of the gifts and the skill set, I don't think they're close at all. But I'm just saying, we've seen amazing true freshmen fizzle pretty quickly. So
That's a
we'll
fact
see
right
about
there.
that.
Sunday evening media. I would still take West Virginia Geno over anything he's done in the NFL.
Life's a little bit easier over there in Morgantown, man.
Hey, see, sometimes you got to see John Denver as loud as you can, baby.
Sunday evening.
Geno is allergic to the red zone, man. He's also allergic to the playoffs.
Oof. Hey, I'm not gonna be tripping over 10 wins.
Yeah, you shouldn't, man. You're a Mariner fan. You should be used to just one game short.
I mean, these teams are honestly extremely similar. They're not bad. They're not great. They both need something to happen to their squad to push them over the top. And they're kind of stuck in this pretty good rut. Mariners Cipher, I agree. The red zone interceptions are killer. And to top it off, RG, they're not even red zone interceptions. Most of them were end zone interception. One against a team that won the division when Gino threw a 103-yard pick six against the Rams that absolutely crushed our souls and eventually crushed the season. Now, you know how I stand on this, though. I want to replace Gino, but we need to upgrade the offensive line, or none of this is really going to matter right now. But 10 wins, brand new coach after kicking out the winningest coach in franchise history, easily the best pro coach in Seattle sports history, and Pete Carroll. So props to him, man. Um, it's just a crazy time though right now. I can't believe how lopsided some of the college football bowl games have been. And then let's just hit the elephant in the room, man. SEC, SEC, overrated.
I still can't go
Overrated.
there. I still can't go there. I still can't go there. This is the first year. This is the first year where across the board they may be down, but if we go back to the inception of the college football playoff, Ohio State gets one, the SEC gets the rest of them. Clemson sneaks in and gets two. The SEC changes that shit and takes them all right back. I can't say that the gap is definitely closed, but we also got to keep in mind too that the powers that be might have something to say about that. And before we get to talking about their demise, there's still some powerful people on the other side of that thing who might not let it go down like this again. Um, and still keep in mind too, let's say Texas goes on and wins the thing too. Texas ain't Big 12 no more. Where's Texas from?
No, I get
Still
that.
got a chance. Still got a chance. So before we put the nail in their coffin, everybody else is gonna have to do more because it's still the Big Ten two, the ACC two, and the SEC with the rest of them. So let's let that marinate just a little bit before we go trying to have their funeral before the powers at ESPN have their say.
Oh, they'll have their say.
That's right.
The problem the they've had their chance though. It doesn't look good right now. It doesn't look good.
It's too early in the fight. It's too early in the fight. You ever seen the Tank Davis fight? The first two rounds, you're like, this guy's the best boxer in the world. And then when we get to round six, it's like, that's why that guy's the best boxer in the world. Still a little too early, but if this is their time to shine, let them get all the shine in the world that they can. But if there's anybody that's going to come back swinging, it's going to be that conference.
Okay. There's a giant thing we need to address though. Giant. The best football coach in college history is no longer on the sidelines for Alabama. And you know how much I love Kalen DeBoer, but you can't replace the best, even if you do a great job. And so the SEC is always going to be really good. The NIL and transfer portal have even the playing field tremendously, though. There's no looking back on that. Like, because here's the thing too: is teams like Alabama, Ohio State, Miami 25 years ago, even Florida State at different times in my life, some of these true big time blue bloods would have so much depth. But that depth is now going to a different team because they don't have to be sticking with that program for all 4 or 5 years without sitting out a year waiting to be able to play for the next team. So the depth is gone. So it's going to be really interesting. It's more incumbent upon the coaches to get their dudes ready now for these top blue bloods because you're not going to be able to have, 4 first round wide receivers on Alabama. You're not going to be able to have like your entire offensive line go to the NFL or, like I said, the backup. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I love it though, man. Just because all that shit talking, I love it when people are way too arrogant and have to come back to earth a little bit.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I just am of that thinking where two can't erase dominance. And we're not even at 2 yet unless Ohio State runs the table. Because then if Texas runs the table, that shit talking comes right back. And we're talking about how NIL is going to turn college football into the haves and the have nots. Well, there's 3 schools left that are at the top of the have list: Ohio State, Texas, and Notre Dame. So we still need to let this thing play out first. I think it's awesome that we have this format finally. I mean, you can remember being in your backyard 20, 25 years ago, chopping it up with your friends, like, man, just what if they just did like 8 teams in the playoffs, and of course none of us had any logistics on here or how we were going to figure it out. We just
Hmm.
wanted it to be something other than the BCS, and we got it. We got it. I don't want to see them go to 16. I don't want to see them go to 16. This is fine where it is with 12. They're probably going to have to change the selections criteria just a little bit. Um, and I honestly think the bye should go away. This is college football, not professional football. I think the bye should go away. But then you also have this thing where you want to still make bowl season feel a little bit better. So they got some work to do on it. But I'm happy we finally have a real playoff to be able to decide this thing. And for this first year, I don't know what more we can ask for.
For sure. I would almost guarantee the 16 teams are coming though, because it's going to
Oh, of
be the
course.
easy. It's going to be the easiest solution to appease all the different power brokers like the SEC who wants more teams in. But you can't discount like you and Indy come from the side of well, win your damn games, and so it's really the only way to appease both sides of it. So it's coming, and that would also eliminate the buy too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just buckling my seatbelt, getting ready for it. But it has been really cool, man, because I gotta be real. I count out Notre Dame often. I count out the Big Ten until they actually win because we've seen Florida embarrass Troy Smith, Ted Ginn Jr., and the rest of Ohio State on the biggest stage. It's not a new story. Michigan breaking on through, Ohio State breaking on through, you're right, is kind of the opposite of the norm. You know, the SEC has taken it for so long, but I got to see it before I believe it because of how much respect I have for what Nick Saban did down there. Alabama was a good program for most of our lives. They weren't great except for when they hired Nick Saban and when they had Bear Bryant. And then there's the decades in between. But man, this is this is crazy though. I just want to look at Notre Dame though really quickly, bro, because they obviously had the worst loss. But I should have put some more respect on their name because they didn't have any marquee big wins, but they did have, by my count, 5 quality wins. So, including at A&M, I talk about college football hard to play on the road. Holy shit! I think a win in A&M is worth 2 wins just for
Mm-hmm.
how crazy it looks on TV.
And you're talking about Autzen Stadium being with them on top of you. Kyle Field is the exact same way with twice the amount of people.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Um, Get some love to the chat here real quick. Mariners Life are rocking with us. Going back to your point about what the Seahawks may need to do to give them a chance to win. I'm not going to bore us with talk about teams that aren't in the playoffs. So we'll let you read that as long as we come through. Um, Hendon Hooker is most certainly a starting quarterback in it. Hey, man, we'll definitely see how that goes. The playoff makes college champs more legit now. There's, like I said last week, it's never going to be fair to somebody about the way that this thing gets done. What I liked about the format that they kind of went to were the years where Boise would get in and cause some havoc, where Utah would get in and cause some havoc, where TCU with Andy Dalton would cause some havoc. But all of those schools now are in power conferences. What I'm want to see is when do they give the Pac-12 back their designation as a power conference since they're trying to rebuild it. A lot for them to figure out going forward, but I think it's been exciting. It's been what we've wanted. It's been some good games. Is there a way to make it more fair than it is now? Like Tyler said, if we go to 16 teams, that eliminates the bye. And if we eliminate the bye, then everybody has the equal playing field of having to play as many games. What I'm wondering what they're going to do is tickets to Notre Dame, Indiana, were going for $1,000 a piece. So you wonder what these greedy schools are going to want to do to get them a chance to have a home game in this thing. If Notre Dame is making $1,000 a seat for this thing, it's going to open up some crazy shit now. NIL has made a huge difference. I absolutely think it has. I think it's harder to, even if you are at a big time school, it's harder to recruit now than it is ever before because the guy who would have gone to your school and been patient to sit on the bench and wait for him to get his shot isn't coming to your school anymore. He's going to be Diego Pavia going to Vanderbilt. It's it definitely has made everything more open, and I definitely think that that's part of the reason why Saban left. And you look at college basketball, and some good college basketball coaches are like, I don't want to deal with this. And I think that that's unfair because for a long time, you had the power to control these kids' lives. And now that you don't have that power, you don't want to coach anymore. I think that's bullshit. I
Mm.
think that's bullshit. Let's see here. We'll take one more, then me and Tyler get back to the conversation. Which four teams that missed out would have made a 16-team playoff? Um, we can just run down the list: Alabama, Miami,
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, and probably who was next in line? South Carolina.
Yeah, they had a
Yeah.
major case too. It's basically to get more SEC teams in because RG's right. Whether you like it or not, there are going to be more SEC teams in there, and I mean they foot the bill for college football. I live up in the Pacific Northwest, and guess what conference I easily watch the most of throughout the year, and it's not even close. And so, does Alabama really deserve it? No, I guess not. Ole Miss, South Carolina, RG, you're right. They had their chance, but this is also a business with people paying billions of dollars for the right to broadcast this property. There's going to be 16 teams.
And let's go back to the start of this thing. The college football playoff started the year after Florida State won the last BCS championship. You had Florida State, Oregon, Ohio State, Alabama. Ohio State comes out on top. So you have 2 years where there's not an SEC champion. And then from there, it's just an SEC bloodbath until we get to Clemson's two back to backs. Then the SEC bloodbath until we get to Michigan winning it last year. That's
Mm.
the part of the reason why I say let's not have a funeral for the SEC yet, because the powers that be are going to come in. And there were some years where some other teams were way more deserving, and they still found a way to keep an SEC team into it. But yeah, I think that would have been would have been four more SEC teams. Well, three more SEC teams. Miami's ACC. But yeah, if we just run down the list, I would have been there. I don't think you would have put um, what are those who lost to Arizona State, the Big 12, Iowa State. They wouldn't have leaped over for
Nah.
many of them. So it had just been four more SEC teams, or three more SEC teams, and Miami in had it have been a 14. But we'll discuss more in that whenever they do decide to come out and change it. But for right now, what's the first game that's going to be up? It's going to be Penn State and Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They got the first one up in the Orange Bowl, so let's get excited to see that two physical defenses going at each other. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be real fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So I just kind of noticed something right here. And with the exception of Texas, three of the four teams that advance to the Final Four play in cold weather areas. And these college guys, they're not used to playing this deep into the winter. like they did for the first round of the college football playoff. I am wondering if these cold weather teams that get these home games are going to have a pretty big advantage over some of these southern schools just by being more ready for the temperature, how cold it is. Because the same way I can't handle the heat down south, people down south can't handle how much it rains up here. You're just a human being, and you adapt to the environment with where you live the most of your time. So I'm really interested in that. But man, throwback, baby. 1980s Penn State Notre Dame. Oh, baby. I'm definitely rolling for Penn State. I've always hated Notre Dame. And oh, one more huge shout out, dude. We were all clowning on Tommy for talking that shit at the beginning that Notre Dame was gonna do some damage. We're all laughing at you. Tommy, way to stand your ground. Speak it with your chest, bro, because Notre Dame's way better than I thought, at least.
They sure are. They sure are. If we were reseeding, they'd probably be the 2 seed right now in this thing. Probably be the 2 seed only because of their strength of their victory over Georgia compared to Boise State's victory. Penn State's victory over Boise State. We got a special guest right now talking to the microphone. What's up, puppers? Talk your shit. So you think Ohio State sucks too? That's why you're my dog. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Seeing if I can get someone's attention to come. That's the I need to go outside before you get mad that I create messes in your house, Barker.
Doo doo on the carpet.
Yep. Then he'd have to sleep outside in this 25-degree weather because I don't play that shit.
Welcome to the desert.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So give me a pause session. Let me rock with my puppy.
Well, bottom line is we got RG taking his doggy outside. We all know how that goes. Tommy, I don't know who Ryan Clark's son is, man. Clue me in, bro. This shit's crazy though. It really is. Texas Power. If Joe Milton had a game today, it's so hard for me to say though in those type of ball games, man, because how how locked in are all the teams? Half these guys are on their way to Cancun already. Hendon Hooker, I loved him in college. That actually might be a sneaky good idea because he's never going to see the field in Minnesota. We'll see what happens though, man. We'll see what happens. Oh, Tay, the safety of no shit. I never put two and two together. That's interesting. Really? Okay. Okay. Well, dude's a stud, an absolute stud. And I love the way Notre Dame plays defense. Make defense great again, man. And it's never going to get great because of the rule changes, bro. But I'm so happy to see some teams that are running and hitting still out there.
Yeah, man. Is it Ryan Clark Jr.? Is he Junior? But yeah, man, he's out there balling, man. Out there balling, and if he has a career anything like his dad's, man, somebody should go after that boy for sure. If you need help on the back end, Jordan Clark. There's Jordan Clark. There we go. Mariners lifer. What is he saying here? Tyreek Hill wants out of Miami. Can't say I didn't see that coming.
I don't think he's going to be able to go anywhere. He costs too much money to make a trade.
Absolutely, absolutely. His uh his speed is one of a kind, but I think he might be priced out too high.
Okay. So let's just look at it quickly then. His production went way down this year. Is he still that guy or is he on the downhill of his career? Because he could easily be a bounce back performer, but you never know, man. When your game's based on speed, you lose a step. It might be a huge thing.
Their offense runs different with Tua,
It does.
and Tua unfortunately hasn't had the greatest health in recent years as well too. Um, but I also think that Mike McDonald could do a better job trying to create space for him
Hmm.
when Tua is not the quarterback. when Hunley or even Skylar Thompson, I think that's his name, their other backup. When they're in the game, they're looking for Waddle and they're looking for Jonnu Smith. Um, a couple years ago, Tyreek definitely the most dangerous weapon in the NFL, but I think those times might have passed for him. And it'll be interesting to um, see what else he can get. Yeah, absolutely, man. He played injured with backup quarterbacks all year. Hard to say if he's washed. That's true. That's true. Um, but if he wants out of Miami, man, it, it'll definitely be interesting to see who comes calling for him.
Hmm.
If they can afford it, I know a team in New York who might need to replace some speed, but they got a whole lot more problems than just trying to replace what they lost with Saquon.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, shoot, I saw Tyreek Hill in person this year, and nothing stood out to me. But Miami wanted no part of being up here in Seattle. That they honestly, coaching staff especially, should be embarrassed with the performance they put on up here in Seattle early in the season. And maybe they do just need to find more ways to get in the ball when Tua's not in there. It'll be interesting to see. You know what I will say? He might be a fantasy value pick next year because he's going to fall in that thing. But Lord knows he could bounce
True.
back. I'm not writing that
Absolutely.
guy off until we see multiple seasons. And trust me when I say I don't even remember who Miami's two quarterbacks were that played in that game because we injured their backup. They put in their third string, and it was bad NFL quarterback play, bro. Oh man.
Yeah, definitely. When I look at Philly's situation, even with Kenny Pickett and just to have a capable backup who can still come in and kind of do simple things. Yeah, we're not going to have the same dynamic type of offense when Jalen's not out there, but hey, man, I thought Pickett did as good as he could have. The defense let us down against Washington, and he
Mm,
can't control any of that.
mhm.
What if San Francisco traded Debo for Tyreek? Ooh,
That's a
mm,
sexy trade.
it is. It is. Because they both should have similar time left on their contract. The thing with San Francisco is where does Purdy set the market at? And
Mhm.
if they end up, because you have to pay him more than Trevor Lawrence is making,
Oh,
you have to pay him more than Trevor Lawrence is making.
you can't. Okay, is the Baker Mayfield 3 years, 100 million? Is that an insult to even bring to the table for Purdy?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes, it is because he took that team to the Super Bowl.
okay, that's fair.
He is.
That's
He
very
is.
fair.
That's not a Baker was looking for a way to be able to stay around. Purdy's not. That's not the situation that Purdy's in.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, just point blank. Are you a fan of Purdy?
Personally, yeah. I like the story. I like his ability. Like what he's able to do. I'm just not a fan of San Francisco.
Okay,
But yeah, I like Purdy, man. I definitely think he's worth his weight in gold, and you are going to have to pay him. But they
okay.
are in the unfortunate situation that most of these teams end up in. To pay somebody, you're going to have to lose somebody.
Mhm.
So we'll definitely see how it goes. We'll definitely see how it goes.
Okay, when you pay your quarterback, they have to have the ability to elevate the team. Can he do that?
Look at him. Look at what he's done. The proof is in the pudding with Purdy. The
Okay.
proof is absolutely in the pudding with Purdy. A lot
Well,
of other
here's my thing.
injuries,
Okay.
a lot of other injuries held San Francisco back. Then his injury holds him back. But if you look at what he has done since he got the helm of that team, I mean they were world beaters last year with the fully healthy team and him out there balling
Mhm.
like it is. Even look at the last Monday night game that they played against Detroit. Dude throws for 340 some yards and has them in a chance to win that game had he not got hurt in the offense just and that was even with limited weapons, without him having McCaffrey, without him having Ayuk.
Mhm.
Is I think the boy's good. I really do think the boy's good. I
I do
think he's
too.
better than
It's just
Tua. I think he's better than Tua. I'll tell you that.
yeah, okay. Well,
So
the
if
one
you,
thing that is so underrated is his ability to dodge, weave, and run back there, man. That guy is so elusive in the pocket. He is literally one of the best quarterbacks at extending plays in the NFL. And if you believe otherwise, go watch that shit, man. Trust me on
mm,
that.
yeah, now he's definitely worth his weight. He's definitely worth his weight. You put him anywhere else, he dominates. I
Mhm.
just like
As a
the way that
Seahawks
dude
fan, I
plays.
want them to pay him though. I
Yeah,
because everyone knows how much harder it is to build your team once you pay the quarterback, and if you pay your quarterback, he has to elevate your squad, which we've seen Tua not be able to do this year. He has the injuries, he has the concussions. I get that, but you know what I'm about to say? The best ability is you got to be around, you got to be able to play, you got to be able to practice, you got to make your receivers better. Texas power. Oh my gosh. We'll take a look at that in a second. One thing I say about Texans, dude, you got a second year quarterback and you're running into the playoffs for 2 straight years. Even if it's a quote down year, I would be thrilled with what's going on still.
all right. Had to pull it up here real quick. Top NFL quarterback contracts. Dak Prescott, 240, 60 mil a year. Joe Burrow, 275, 55 a year. Jordan Love, 220, 55 a year. Trevor Lawrence, 275, 55 a year. Tua, 212, 53 a year. Jared Goff, 212, 53 a year. Justin Herbert, 262, 52 a year. Lamar Jackson, 260, 52 a year. Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Kirk O'Chains, all have a higher, all are making more per year than the two guys who would be next on that list, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Oh wow. So it really is when you sign your
It
contract.
really is when you sign. Really is when you sign. Dak, I don't know if I could give a unbiased opinion about if I think that Dak Prescott is worth $60 million a year.
I don't think he is at all, but at the same token, I don't know what you do right now. And the Seahawks are entering an offseason with a huge predicament also because Geno Smith wants a new contract. I don't want to give it to him. But for anyone to say there's an obvious answer that's better than Geno right now, we don't know that at all. And if you want to go into the unknown, I get that. But teams go into the unknown sometimes, and you end up in quarterback purgatory for 10, 20, maybe 30 years. Maybe you're the Chicago Bears and you're still in quarterback purgatory 100 years later. I mean, this shit's not as easy as we make it out to be. But I guess that's why we're here to talk shit about it. And oh my gosh, I'm just glad the Seahawks didn't draft Anthony Richardson. And this is buyer beware. If you want to go traits on a defensive end, go traits on a quarterback, go traits on a tight end. Do not go traits on quarterback. There is so much more than your speed, size, strength, arm talent. As oh my gosh, is it time to move into tight end? Shit, dude. But I would be happy as an Eagles fan. Just before I pass it back to you, man. Jalen Hurts was pretty far down that list. Like, just given the bang for the buck, he's actually putting in work right now.
True, true. But of that list, I think he's better than Tua. I think he's better than Trevor Lawrence. I honestly think he's better than Justin Herbert.
He's proven more. He's just not
Absolutely,
the chosen one. He's just not the
absolutely,
chosen one.
absolutely. He didn't come out of AAU with everybody riding his jock. He didn't
Hmm.
come out of Iowa State with everybody all over him talking about, oh well, he could be next. He just got in and did the work. it might be way too early to make that comparison, but the last guy who came out that late, who just came in and did the work, only ended up winning 7 fucking Super Bowls. So
Mm,
just like you said, buyer beware with these dudes. Buyer beware with these dudes. But I definitely think they got to pay him, and I definitely think he gets more than 4 years of 210.
okay. Well, that makes me happy, man. That makes me happy because Lord knows I'm sick of San Francisco winning these many games, even if they haven't won the Super Bowl itself, man. Seahawks are sick of being little brother right now. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
You were talking about Anthony Richardson. I'm having a hard time distinguishing between Anthony Richardson and Jamarcus Russell. Just Anthony
Okay.
Richardson hasn't had his hood moment yet, other than just complaining about not wanting to go into a game because he was tired.
Hmm.
I mean, guy has an unbelievable cannon who could throw the ball for yards, but so did Jameis Winston. And even in garbage time, Cleveland couldn't run with him.
Hmm. Well, and at least with Jameis, he was a fantastic college quarterback, a
He
champion.
was.
I mean, you can't take that away. So everyone around the draft time and Texas Power is a good topic to bring up, just kind of out of the blue because it's polarizing and interesting to me. Because all of these people and all the scouts that supported Anthony Richardson so much, oh, he's Cam Newton. He's bigger, stronger, faster with a bigger arm than Cam Newton. Then why didn't he dominate like Cam? You know, I've been loving Jalen Milrow for so long. Then I got to slap myself in the face and be like, timeout. Everyone's telling me he's Lamar Jackson, but he ain't because I don't see it out there. We try to believe and hope these guys into existence, but you can't tell me that a dude's Cam Newton or Lamar Jackson until I see them dominate and win Heisman's, which neither of those dudes have.
The same thing I say about prospects in baseball, I'm going to bring it over here to the NFL draft. A prospect is suspect until they actually get out there and do the damn thing. There's just no, and especially with Richardson, the sample size was way too small for you to be
Oh.
so in love with what he could be.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to see them go through some type of repression or through the fire, and you just don't get that with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's getting by next season, he plays the full season next year. He would have played more games at the professional level than he did learning how to do the job at the college level or probably even the high school level.
That's insane.
Nuts. Nuts. A small sample size in Florida with what he can do and just fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
Fell in love with it. Not all of these dudes are Randall Cunningham.
Just
But
think
they
how
have to learn
special
the
that
hard way.
guy was.
Hmm?
We're still looking for another Randall. I mean, we've seen Mike Vick, Lamar Jackson. They're all a little different if you look at them closely. But man, and then I want to take it to the other side of what you were just saying on how little experience that AR-15 had. Let's just look at Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, the two most successful rookies from this quarterback class right now. Both had at least like 5 years of starting experience in college. That's what I want to see. I need to see that you have played and led a ton because if you play that often, you are going to have peaks and valleys, which you will inevitably see in the NFL, no matter if you're Tom Brady or frickin' Rick Meyer or anybody in between. So buyer beware. It's a good point. And Texas Power, I would just be pumped as the Texans because Jacksonville doesn't seem to know what they're doing. RG just referenced the golden child, Trevor Lawrence, is one of the single highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Is he even that much better than Daniel Jones? If you close my eyes and told me, I wouldn't be able to guess if I didn't know their past college experiences, I should say. So fun shit, man. Fun shit. I want to look ahead then right now. NFL playoffs start just next weekend, man. Who do you know who's going to Philadelphia? And just tell me how you feel because I think they're one of the Super Bowl contenders rather than playoff contender.
Yeah, so all the matchups are set right now except for the 1 seed and the 5 seed between this game with Minnesota and Detroit. So Philly gets Green Bay. Green Bay losing to Chicago today
Ooh.
fell down to the 7 seed. So Philly gets Green Bay. We're going to have As the 3-6 matchup, you're going to have Tampa and Washington. The 4-5 matchup will be the Rams and whoever loses this game tonight. And then
Okay.
on the
Okay.
AFC side, you're going to have Buffalo and Detroit. You're going to have Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And then you're going to have the Chargers and the Texans.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. So some pretty good matchups. Um, if I'm Pittsburgh, if I'm Pittsburgh, you better have hell week this week because some type of fire has to be lit under your ass because you have basically gone through a playoff stretch for the last 4 weeks and you didn't win a single one of those games.
Mm.
Something has definitely got to change there in Pittsburgh. As much as I love Mike Tomlin, and as much value as I think there is in the fact that he has never had a losing season, they also haven't won a playoff game in going on 8 years now.
Mm.
So they're definitely the team with the most to prove as far as where they really sit as an organization is going to be Pittsburgh.
I don't see any way that they win this game at Baltimore, to be honest.
They know each other so well. They know each other so well. Um, we're gonna get one or two things. We're either gonna get a classic out of them, like like an old school, they just can't stop hitting them in the mouth Pittsburgh and Baltimore game, or we're gonna get the Ohio State version of watching them for 10 minutes and going, they stand no chance. They've already given up
Mm.
21 fucking points. Yeah, Russ will choke. I hate to say it, just because I love Mike Tomlin. Yeah, they're probably one and done this week.
I think they've been figured out too. They got enough film, man. Teams realize what they're doing on offense, and unless they figure out a counterpunch for this coming weekend, they're in serious trouble. Because we all see it. Even you and me know exactly what's going on. They're gonna run heavy and rely on low percentage deep throws down the sideline from Russell, and it's a hard way to sustain offense over a long period of time, especially in a shitty weather area in the middle of winter against quality opponents with a quarterback like Russell who is clearly past his prime.
Yep. I just am trying to figure out when George Pickens became Antonio Brown and just a, a cancer of a cancer of a roster spot. Just again, but I'm old. I don't live in that world. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be in my 20s in this day and age.
Mhm.
I'm I'm glad I grew up when I did, but I just all the talent in the world, all the talent in the world, and just the biggest knock on him is everybody talks about how immature he is.
Well, then it bled out onto the field against
Yeah.
Baltimore this past Saturday. That's the
Mhm.
problem. You know, what is it Doc Rivers famously said? We'll keep you until your problems outweigh your talents.
Yeah.
And teams will put up with a lot of bullshit if you're producing. We know that. That's no secret. But you got to produce. And that guy, man, there was a few dimes out there that he needed to bring in. He didn't. And I just hope well for him. I don't like to like stomp on people's graves, talk shit while they're down. But that young man, if he doesn't get his shit together, he's gonna be a dude who, like you said, all the talent in the world, and he'll be out of football trying to figure out what to do with his life.
Hey, at least they got the XFL.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. He had more drops than yards, Mariner Lifer says. His next game will show a lot
Jeez.
about who he really is. Just absolutely, man. I mean, they're again, I don't know what it's like to be 20 in this day and age in this world. And for me to live for likes and retweets.
Mm.
Even with this, if you like the show, we're happy you rock with us. If you don't like the show, feel free to hit another button. I just don't. I just can't see not giving my best effort because my mind is on the most unimportant shit when I'm getting paid millions of dollars just to come out here and perform.
Mhm.
16, 16 weeks, sorry, 18 weeks. 18 weeks is all I'm asked to just give my full attention to something and to make generational money to change my life, my family's status forever. And the second there's not a coach barking down my throat, I just can't focus on any. But you look at, I wonder if there's something structurally wrong in the Steeler way now because you had AB do this, and then you had Juju be immature, and then now you have Pinkins being immature. Just
Mhm.
for first time's an accident, second time's a habit, and then now we're on their third guy who's supposed to be the premier. Even Claypool, just making
Oh yeah. Yeah.
even Claypool. Just I just don't get it about what is wrong with what it is that they're finding in these guys where after X amount of games they're just mentally checked out.
Hmm. Well, it's not an easy process. I know that there's been changes in their front office, retirements and such, and I'm a huge Mike Tomlin guy. There's no question about it.
Hmm?
But sometimes these coaching relationships aren't going to last forever. But I mean, the dude just got an extension, so I don't think he's going anywhere. But I mean, something's got to change. Though you're right, but I don't even know where to go with that one, man. It's just a different world. You always say it, man. It's a different
Hmm?
world. We're just trying to figure it out.
Sure is, man. Sure is. Sure is. But yeah, man, NFL playoffs is getting ready. Can't wait till Saturday. But even before, I mean, we're gonna have starting Thursday, we're gonna have some really, really good football to watch. So
Oh,
definitely hope.
baby.
So definitely hope you have the drink or vice of your choice, some good food, a good TV, and ready to sit and watch it, enjoy it if you can, man.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, we've been going major football heavy, and y'all know, my oh my, it's another sports podcast. Our beloved Mariners are not willing to go out and get even the cheapest player. So we're gonna roll with what is still fun to talk about. If anything happens to our beloved baseball squad, we'll be all over that shit, y'all know. But it's football season, and our team's doing nothing, so we're gonna dive in like that.
We're still waiting for them to do something positive so we can report on. Like I was telling Indy, I just got word that they had decided to bring back the entire roster from 1979 and give them a run and see how they can do because that's all they can afford.
Oh shit.
You know, and like Andy said, maybe even some of those guys will hit better than these guys can. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Anything else you got for the people?
Nah, man, just I'm just gonna be hating from the outside looking in. I am so glad Oregon got stomped out like that. Thank you. Thank you.
Again, I'll say it here. I'm not a fan of theirs, and I don't care if that gets you regulated to the couch. But let's go Longhorns. Give me anything other than Ohio State championship.
I know you know that song.
Which one?
Texas.
Oh man, I know the one they sing at the end of the game. Um, I was raised I was raised by my grandmother. My grandmother's from Austin, Texas, at a time where, Texas wasn't the most friendly place to live. And even with everything that she endured living in Austin, anytime the Longhorns win, I could walk into her room and she'd be 89 years old and she'd have her hands up singing The Eyes of Texas Are Upon You. So I'm definitely hoping to get to hear that on Friday night, one time for the memory of Freddie Lee Griffin.
Blessed, blessed. Mariners life Ohio State versus Notre Dame. I'm gonna say there's a rematch, Ohio State and Penn State.
Did I not say Notre Dame was going the distance? You sure did, Tommy. You stood on that business, man. You stood on that business and you're here, dog. So shout out to you for being able to call it. It's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be exciting to watch. Really good play coming up. Thank God we get it in a warm weather destinations, so it's not going to be cold in Miami. And Jerry World is Jerry World, so it's going to be ready to rock. But yeah, man, Thursday, get buckled in. Hopefully you're off of work in time. Don't speed through traffic to get home. There's definitely more important things, but when you get home, sit down in front of that TV and turn it on and let's get it rocking, baby. College football playoff, NFL playoff. My oh my will be here to cover all of it for you.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yes, sir. My oh my, it's another sports podcast coming to you live each and every Sunday here on YouTube. Big shout out to our super producer, Indy Vaden Podcast Services, making us sound like $1,000,000. Don't forget to follow his music page on YouTube, Death to Indy. Check out some of his tracks, man. The boy's got some fire. Again, we couldn't do this without the live chat, making it seem what it is, man. And y'all doing what you do. We always thank you all for interacting with us, giving us that feedback, and we encourage you to shoot Indy a message and hey, come be a part of the show with us, man. Come be a part of the show. Big shout out to our social media director, Miss Katie Matsumoto. Thank you for all you do. Even though you're an Ohio State fan, there's a special place in my heart for you. Absolutely. Don't forget, if you can't be with us live, the recording comes out every Monday night and Tuesday morning, just depending on what platform you like to get your favorite podcast from. Follow us on our socials at MyOhMyASP. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Tinder, Bumble, OnlyFans, anywhere where you can want to pay me and Tyler $5 for you to see our feet. We'll be happy to oblige. Again, this couldn't be possible without any Man Invading Podcast Services, rocking to you from Nashville, Tennessee, all the way up there, Little Lake Steves, Washington. That's my man, Ty Talks 24. I'm that dude, RG, repping the streets of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We'll see you next week, each and every week, for another live episode of My Oh My. It's another sports podcast.